Welcome to QI for a bracing dose of health and safety gone mad. Tonight's community safety officers are the health-conscious David Mitchell, the heavily insured Ross Noble, the distinctly dangerous Jeremy Clarkson, and an accident waiting to happen, Alan Davies. So, signal from me, activate your hazard warning indicators, please. Gentlemen, Ross goes.
Dive, dive, dive.
David goes.
Stay clear of the doors, please.
Jeremy goes.
Vehicle reversing. Vehicle reversing.
And Alan goes.
Don't touch the button.
Now, to demonstrate our sincere commitment to health and safety, we've made you all fill in some forms earlier, which I hope you've all done.
Why is there a picture of Richard Whiteley?
Because you can take your hat off if you like.
Thanks, because my hair would be ruined.
Yes, you couldn't have that. You all took the white... fly-away hair. You all took the Whiteley test, which is a test for hypochondriasis, to test whether or not you are hypochondriacs.
The test was a bit of a stupid test, though.
The tests are, aren't they, as a rule? What was particularly stupid about it?
Every question in the test you had to answer 1 to 3, 4, 5, and 1 meant not at all, 2 meant a little bit, 3 moderately, 4 quite a lot, 5 loads and loads.
Yeah.
And then one of the questions was, do you worry about your health a lot? And so how can you answer moderately to I moderately worry about my health a lot. I worry about my health a lot a little bit. I worry about my health a lot. I mean, the answers didn't go with the questions.
No, you're right, they didn't think it through, did
No,
they?
and it's all, I mean, how long did they spend on it? 3 minutes? Because if it was 4, they're idiots.
OK, here we are. Ross, you scored 20.
Right.
And any score between 14 and 28 is not a hypochondriac.
Right.
Don't worry about your health. You don't think there's something wrong with your body?
But I am terrified that a giant Richard Whiteley's going to kill me with a clipboard.
Yes. They should have asked that question, shouldn't they?
My tendency with those things is to put the thing basically all the way through the middle.
Yes.
Do you want to kill children moderately? Don't want to be too much either way.
This test is all about how much you're worried about your health.
Yes.
But the results are meaningless unless we also have medicals. Because it may be that Ross is at death's door, in which case he's an idiot for being so late.
That's true.
Or it may be that one of us who's come out as obsessed with our health is also at death's door, in which case that's a very sane response.
Once again, your relentless, urgent and slightly worried logic is making this a nonsense.
Ruining the programme.
No, it's
again,
not. It's absolutely spot on. But,
I didn't read the questions.
Didn't you?
No, because you always put 5. That's the point of all those things, don't you? I'm always absolutely terrified of it or not bothered at all.
This explains why Alan is a mild hypochondriac, Ross is not a hypochondriac, David is a borderline hypochondriac, and you are dangerously...
Well, actually, I am. I didn't know that it was about hypochondria, because, as I say, I didn't read the questions, but I am. I've got every single disease there is. I mean, really every one.
Are you telling me you've got elephantitis?
Yes, of the scrotum. I've got a twisted testicle, a hideous skin disease, 2 slit discs, a very...
And a partridge!
I've got every conceivable disease there is.
With those testicular torsions, if that keeps going, you get to a point, if it's not treated, it's like winding up elastic band. It just... your willy goes... You take off like an aeroplane.
Make sure you got plenty of room.
Yes.
I went outside for a cigarette before the show, and I thought, for once, I'm not going to get lung cancer because I'm wearing this.
You know who I feel sorry for the most? Is construction working goths. Because the goths, they love a black outfit. That's what they have to wear. But they've got to earn a living, and this goes against everything they stand for. It's not fair.
But these are reflective, so they could have, you know, just the reflective.
Ah. Would you want a reflective goth? I would.
actually, yeah.
I'd like one in my house. Bring out the reflective goth.
Emos are quite dark as well, aren't they?
Yeah,
Are
but
the
they're
emos
not the
dark?
full. They're not the full goth. I'd love to see an act called Rod Hull and Emo. You gonna attack someone? No. I'll just be in my room.
But anyway.
The other thing about this
Yes.
test is it's got a failure rate of...
His testes?
No,
Oh, I see, sorry, yes. His testes, sorry, yes.
This is plus or minus 11.
If you have a score of 21 plus or minus 7, you're not. But if it's 44 plus or minus 11, then you are.
What am I, just for the record?
Extremely, dangerously hypochondriac.
But I am.
You should see a doctor at once about your
Because I
hypochondria.
found out the other day that not everybody thinks about death constantly.
Yeah, it's a worry when you discover that. I know exactly what you mean.
But
You
not-
assume what you feel is what everyone feels.
Yes.
It says, do you have aches and pains, or think you have aches and pains, or think about having aches and pains, or something like that. But I do actually have got aches and pains.
Well, then you see, that,
I put
that was
4.
sort of David's point, that it is, yeah. I mean, everybody...
If I hadn't fessed up to my actual
Yeah.
aches and pains,
No, I think... you
I
see,
wouldn't be hypochondriac.
Part of what is hypochondria is people not expecting to have aches and pains and thinking, therefore, it's very serious. I mean, the first sign of a hypochondriac is someone who, if they have a headache, thinks it's a brain tumour.
It's an aneurysm. I had one about an hour ago. An aneurysm.
An aneurysm?
No, it's
Oh,
an
it's even
aneurysm.
worse.
I could feel the artery going... right in the middle of my agony.
And did it go right down into your testicles?
No. So I've got an... Anyway, but I've definitely had one earlier, because I don't have... Most people have headaches. I have savage pains like lightning bolts.
Most people have headaches, but your headaches are actually in
Five.
your head.
They're 5.
I know what you mean. People moan about their sore knees, and you've got to go, it's not the same as when it's my knee.
And what does it, with this test, what does it mean if you write the answers in your own blood? That'd mess with their heads, wouldn't it?
It would.
Not as bad as if you write them into somebody else.
No, that would be...
My favourite question on there, sorry, was it says... I can't remember it now.
Oh.
Do you suffer from forgetfulness?
What was it about?
It says, if you don't feel very well, do you get annoyed when someone says you look like you're getting better?
That's
like
an
that
interesting one, that.
Yeah, I feel terrible. Oh, you look all right. You feel ill. Yeah,
There's
but you
another
look
one
fine. Look.
If a disease is brought to your attention through radio, TV or newspapers, do you worry about getting it yourself? No. You don't? No, so when you read about a flesh-eating thing in some newspaper...
What flesh-eating
thing? Yeah. Now, how would you use one of these to save someone from drowning? I've got one here. I'm going to have to put gloves on because it's a very delicate instrument that I have, and I'm not allowed to touch it. It's been lent to us by the Wellcome Collection, which is one of the best medical
like
collections in the world.
He could save himself by, for example, swimming.
Yeah, but if...
Rather than going...
Let's imagine somebody had landed up on a beach, almost dead from drowning, and you have one of these.
Is it a bellows?
It is a bellows. It's a set of bellows.
Well, let's just pump air into his lungs. It's easy.
You'd think that, but
Hang
no.
on a sec. Are we saving him for drowning?
Alan,
Bottom.
repeat what you said.
Up his bum.
Yeah,
Yes.
bottom.
It's up the bottom, but it isn't air. There's more to it than that.
Is it spit? Is
No,
it
it's-
air?
No.
Brandy.
You unscrew that and you put tobacco in.
Are you ordering?
Tobacco.
You put tobacco in, you light it. It's smoke.
Up the bottom. There's several flaws with your argument.
Yeah.
Chief among which, if you're drowning, you're in water.
Yeah.
Which is going to put it out. Secondly, who's got time to fill that with tobacco and light it while somebody's drowning? And thirdly, it's rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, these are all obviously pretty strong arguments. It's basically if you're trying to resuscitate someone, and it's not just like someone once wrote it might be a good idea and so we've seized on it. This was general mainstream medical belief. And these were hung up all along the Thames, on the embankment, and on canals and waterways.
How many
and people were expected to know, much as you might be expected to know where a fire extinguisher was, where the bellows were. And you fill that with tobacco, and presumably you puff it like a pipe, having washed it from its previous use, and then like that.
So it would be next, as it were, the life ring.
Yes,
thing.
exactly
So you throw the ring,
Yeah,
and you
I know
drag
it
them in.
seems bonkers. What happened apparently in the 17th... There's an example. There you are. This is before this was invented and you needed someone with a pipe.
Blow, man, for God's sake! Is it sucking or blowing? I can't remember. blowing, is it? I don't know. Well, be sure, man. He's drowning. I'll do both. I'll suck first.
So, is it just the shock of the sensation of having smoke blown up your arse that makes you sort of splutter back into life?
Who knows? Apparently, in the 18th century, in the late 1700s, a woman was found drowning and apparently almost dead, and people tried the normal things, and someone suggested blowing smoke up her arse. Seemed to work.
So there was a point where they went, kiss of life, just wait a second.
Exactly.
Hand me that pipe.
So what it is clearly is someone managed to get better from drowning at a moment coincident with someone having smoke blown up their arse. And then for years, poor other people, on top of the indignity of nearly drowning, have had to face that.
It could be a lot worse. It could have been coinciding with having his eyes gouged out by crows.
Yeah, that's true.
Gouge his eyes out with crows!
It would be a beautiful sight, though. We have blown the smoke up there, and the person splutters back to life and then takes off down with the smoke coming out. Look at the speed they're going at.
That bloke on the left looks like he's going to rob his trousers if he doesn't come round. He's always a villain in 18th century London.
Well, he's generating the smoke, you see, because they didn't have an all-in-one device like this. So the one on the right, it's got the pipe.
Oh, Christ. So he has to French kiss the
Yes.
This has nothing to do with saving a drowning man.
Super versions of old London, that's what this is.
I think we got another picture of it as well.
I hope real
somewhere.
people
Yeah,
this
we can
time.
have it. We did. There you are. Well, yeah.
Well, he's not drowning.
No, well, he's just in the pub. He's just in the pub.
It's just that scene from Pulp Fiction when...
This is actually... This is bad, because it means people can say at almost any point, I think I might be drowned. They fancy it with a
And also,
smoking.
as if that's bad enough, it's like, as if that doesn't look wrong enough, the bloke in the background went, I think I'll get me donkey in on this. It's like...
Oh, when you said blow smoke up my ass, Oh, dear. I know what a strange world we lived in, but that was mainstream medical science.
God, that's got stuck in my throat, that one.
The bellows!
Yes, it used to be thought that the best way to revive a drowning man was by pumping tobacco smoke up his backside. Speaking of life-saving devices, I have some here, and I'd like you to tell me what you think they're for. These are the real thing, and they are there to save lives. How would that save your life? Can you see? If you look, you've got to see. You've got to look at your neighbour to see what you look like, and see if you can work out how this could be of any use.
Is it for doing complicated experiments?
Not really a complicated experiment.
It's if you're dealing with some animal that doesn't like being looked at in the eye.
Oh, Alan, you are on sparkling form. You're absolutely right. What sort of animal might that be?
It's a bear.
Not a bear, actually, in this instance.
Some dogs don't like it.
So, but there are plenty of animals that don't like
Ants
it.
hate it, don't they?
Ants, not so much ants, to be honest. It's great that you're trying, but not ants.
A tiger or a lion?
It's a big primate.
It's a bear.
Gorilla.
No, it's a big primate. It's a
Chimpanzee,
gorilla.
yeah,
It's a gorilla. You'll see it has written on the side of it there, in
Gorilla.
Dutch, de oplossing is uit
Yes, but just a moment.
And then it says, Bekito kijken, which means Bekito viewer, kijken, even kijken, is to look, yeah.
But the trouble with these is it does look a bit like you're going, oh.
I know. Oddly enough, gorillas like that.
Yeah.
They
No,
like
but-
that.
no,
What
but
they
they-
don't like is a long, loving look. What happened was, in Rotterdam Zoo, this gorilla called Bekito, and a woman thought she was bonding with him, and she would sit and smile and gaze lovingly into his big brown eyes, and that is the worst thing you can do to a silverback, to a dominant male. And one day he just grabbed her, he leapt over, he bit her 100 times, and he broke many of her bones, shall we say. And she was very nearly killed by him.
And she was revived by smoke.
Yes, that's what happened. Fortunately, being done.
I'd like to have a pair of these if I ever get pulled over for speeding.
So,
Do you know why you've been pulled over? I've no idea. Where are you? Where have you gone? You big gorilla, you.
Well, we went to the zoo, and my mate Mike, who's an odd bloke anyway, we were in the monkey enclosure, and he was staring at a monkey for ages, and the monkey stared back at him and went like this.
hello.
Yeah.
And what did that mean, do we think?
Well, they're married now, so...
Pretty clear, then. Yeah.
So can you, if you're feeling a bit sad, can you put them on upside down?
I suppose you could. Yeah. Yes.
So for weeks and weeks and weeks, this woman would think, I'm getting on really well with this gorilla, and the gorilla's been thinking, I hate that.
Yes.
I'm going to do something. At some point, I'm going to crack.
And he snapped, yeah.
But did they check that it wasn't just an incredibly annoying woman?
Tell me they didn't put the gorilla down or anything.
No, he was tranquilised. After attacking her, he went into a cafe where he caused a bit of a sensation.
Cappuccino! Don't look at me!
To be perfectly honest...
There he comes. What would you like, sir? Cappuccino and a penguin biscuit, certainly. We'll bring it over. No, it's on us.
I'm sorry that the cappuccino isn't actually in the cup, but I'm not really looking properly.
That'd be a nightmare, wouldn't it? Because if you had those on like that and the cappuccinos were there...
Yes.
All the cappuccinos were there and the gorilla's there going, why are you looking at cappuccinos there? Because the gorilla would think you were giving him the shoddy one.
Yes, exactly. Oh, it's just a nightmare.
Would dark glasses not do?
They would. I mean, to be honest with you, David, this was more or less a publicity gimmick by a health insurance company, but it was to emphasise the fact also, and they gave them out at the zoo, don't look directly into the eyes of Bokito the gorilla.
The other option you have is, you don't have to wear these, you can just hide under the nearest picnic table and you'll be absolutely fine.
I would say so, yeah.
Why are they hiding under them?
Because there's a bloody big gorilla. Well, the fact is, if you don't want to be beaten up by a gorilla, arm yourself with a pair of our special anti-gorilla spectacles and you should be fine. Your safety is always our priority. So, from a safety point of view, where's the ideal place to attach a sharp spike to a car?
Vehicle reversing.
Yes, Jeremy, you'll know.
I do, actually.
Yep.
In the middle of the steering wheel is the answer.
Yes, it's the right answer. Can you explain why that might be?
Yes, because at the moment you drive along and you think, I've got a huge airbag, like a big, comfy, bouncy castle is going to burst out if I drive into something, and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But if you have an enormous spike, about a foot long, sticking out of the steering wheel,
like
you drive like that. Yeah. You would drive extremely slowly.
And you would brake very slowly.
This is a true fact. Nobody would exceed, what, 6...
I would say.
Miles an hour if you had one of those in the middle of the steering?
In many ways, it would sort of reduce the point of having a car at all, though.
Quite a lot.
Similarly, if you made cars perpetually on fire, people would probably be frightened to get in them at all.
The trouble with that, though, is that wouldn't work for me, because I look at that and just think, that's perfect, because I could have a pasty on it, a sausage roll, have 2 sandwiches, have a Mars bar,
and it would be shish kebab.
It would be a motorway services kebab, and I'd drive and nibble like that.
Well, this is all part of the theory of what's called risk compensation, the fact that we now live in such bubbles in cars. We've got crumple zones and cages and ABS.
So if there's a problem with people feeling like their cars are a bubble, what happens with bubble cars?
Oh!
Does that...
bubble.
Does that make them more dangerous to drive? Could someone look into that for me?
Why do people think bubbles are so safe?
Well,
they burst really easily.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great,
I'd rather be in a car.
Wouldn't that be great? If you were just driving a bubble car and it just went...
Where's my car gone?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, seatbelts, of course, were an example. In 1983, as you know, they came in.
Yeah.
And did they reduce the number of deaths?
Seatbelts have done enormously, yes.
Well, oddly enough, road deaths were going down anyway. But what certainly went up, commensurate with seatbelts being made compulsory, were deaths of cyclists. That people were basically driving more recklessly because they thought, I've got a seatbelt now, so I can, it doesn't matter if I brake later. And it seems that that's the point of risk compensation, that if you think you're safe and in a safe car, you tend to drive commensurately more dangerously, and hence the point of the spike. Anyway, very good, thank you all. A spike on your steering wheel would put your life at risk, but it might just save somebody else's. Now it's time for a round of You're the Health and Safety Officer. What equipment do children need to play conkers?
No,
They're not allowed to, are they?
We haven't heard that noise.
Yeah. Goggles, you're saying?
Yeah.
You see, no. I'm afraid, much as we may deprecate the health and safety culture of our country, That whole thing was absolute nonsense. It was a school near Carlisle.
I was going to say it was in Cumbria.
That's right, and the headmaster didn't like health and safety, and to emphasise it and to sort of make a joke of it, he issued his schoolchildren with these goggles and said, oh, no, and according to the way it's going now, this is how you have to... And all the papers, of course, picked up on it.
Why, if we're dismissing the notion that the schools are pro-massive injuries, did they close when it was a bit snowy and icy?
Well, I don't know. I'm not saying there isn't a health and safety culture problem. I'm merely saying that the Conkers one was definitely all made up.
The best thing to do, that's something I do, and every time I go to the supermarket, see these yellow things here with the wet floor? I like to walk along there and then just fall, so your bum hits the top of it and it goes bang, like that, and you just lie there going, oh, my God, and people go, oh, you all right, you all right? And you just kind of go, some idiot's left this thing here. And it just freaks them out, and they just can't handle it. And it's, oh!
There really should be a warning wet floor sign, shouldn't there?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, getting progressive, like starting small and building up to the actual one itself.
OK, good. All you need to play conkers are conkers and string. Now, speaking as a health and safety officer, why would I stick my finger up your bottom if you couldn't name 7 bald men apart from Yul Brynner? That is one of the oddest questions I've ever asked anybody.
I can name 7 bald men easily.
You can. Well, then I won't have to put my finger up your
Ross
bottom.
Kemp, and then
Ross Kemp.
Kojak.
Kojak, Telly Savalas. No, you can't mention him yet.
Does Kojak and Telly Savalas count as 2?
Blofeld.
No, that's one. Blofeld. That was... Yes.
That's 3, and I'm actually now struggling to name any more.
Well, I may have to put my finger up your bottom.
Duncan Goodhue. Did you have Duncan Goodhue?
Duncan Goodhue would count as bald.
famously bald.
Matt Lucas.
It's not... Yeah, Matt Lucas is pretty bald.
We're terrified. We've got to get this
I'm not going to put my finger up any of your bottom.
I wouldn't be playing.
That guy over there is
I don't
bald.
think you've named him,
I
have
thought
you?
you meant you wanted me to put my
Is
finger
this
up.
so if you... Willie Thorne! Sorry.
Where Willie Thorne? Sorry. It's very good.
I know you're supposed to put your finger up the dog's bum if it's biting you and won't let go.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, bull terriers, dogs like that. Because their jaws lock,
Ah.
the only way you can make them release it...
Well...
Finger up the bum.
OK.
Well, no, you can use a stick or other implement. It doesn't have to be... The dog doesn't go, is that a pen? I'm not really...
I think it would show considerable sang-froid to take out a pen while a dog is tied to your arm. I'll remove... No, not the fountain pen, just the bic.
But to be fair, the dog in my scenario is also a talking dog. Right? So the best thing to do is go, you've been on your holidays. Well, the thing is,
Go!
Joke, and you go...
Yeah. There you are. OK, good. That's nice. But coming back to
your sensible
supposing you had this problem that I wanted to cure, one of the ways to cure it might be to get you to name 7 bald men. Another way might be to make you drink a glass of water while a friend plugged your ears. Hiccups. There are many supposed cures for hiccups. Thinking of bald people, it does something to your brain that apparently can help you. But there is only one absolutely surefire medical way of stopping hiccups, and that is...
Death.
Digital rectal massage. I.e. putting a finger up a bottom and having a bit of an old wiggle.
I never knew that the bottom was a passage to so many cures. I thought it was just
when you say
spelling excrement, but no.
When you say digital rectal massage, was there a point where it changed from analogue? I remember because I think there was a big campaign on the TV at the time.
Yes.
And they were going...
A lot of people going, oh, no, it's not a very good signal.
It's not as warm.
Get up on the roof and adjust the area.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what...
Hurry up,
I'll tell you what, I can't wait till 2012.
It's somehow colder, isn't it, the digital? It's not as warm as the analog.
Yeah, but it's a lot more vivid.
It is more vivid. Spell hiccup.
H-I-C-C-O-U-G-H. But why is it pronounced
Oh, no. It's considered an error. It's considered an error.
Why is it always written like that in the paper, then?
Yeah, it should
Every
be.
newspaper has a house style on it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, it seems unfair to take the point away because a lot of people do spell it like that, but there's no... it's an erroneous back formation because it was considered maybe it was something to do with the cough when it is nothing to do with the cough. But
just named after
the Old English was always hiccup spelt in different ways with Y's and CK's and hiccup and various things. Anyway, digital rectal massage is the only proven cure for chronic hiccups, although there are plenty of folk remedies you could try if you didn't happen to have any rubber gloves handy. Now, what about the working at height directive? What should somebody having an out-of-body experience look out for as they near the ceiling?
Spinning fans, ceiling fans, is it?
Well, yes, if it's an out-of-body experience, presumably their spirit can go through the fan.
Yeah. They should look out for a couple of undertakers coming in and taking their body away while they're floating.
Yes, that's the kind of thing they imagine.
Is this something to do with health and safety?
No, well, it's not really. It's to do with the whole nature of the out-of-body experience. A doctor at the University of Southampton has undertaken a 3-year test in 25 hospitals to see if it really is possible. And the way he's done it is on top of cupboards and shelves, he's put randomly generated pictures so that if someone genuinely had risen up above that level and looked down and then survived, they're asked to fill in a form and say what they'd seen. You see?
I think they would be more focused on their own chances of life or death than something that's on the top of the cupboard.
But that isn't the history of what people say. The anecdotal evidence is that they look down and they describe quite closely what it is they've seen. I mean, it's a long shot, let's be honest, but it is a genuine experiment.
Like a £20 note up there. And then when they go, oh, thank God I'm alive, and they're just looking.
Yeah.
Just wait till the doctors leave. Are they cashing in?
It may be better psychology. You could suggest it to him.
What are the results of this survey? Did he say that...
It's really annoying. Dr. Sam Parnier, it's due to be announced in 2011, and we called him up, and he refused to give us the scoop. So we just don't know.
How annoyed would you be if you did all that research and it turned out that the top of the shelf, the top of the thing was so dusty you couldn't see the picture?
That would be annoying. OBEs, they're called. Out-of-body experiences.
I reckon it will turn out that they can't see the things on the top of the cupboards. That's what I think.
I'm with you. If you are having an out-of-body experience, try to remember to check what's on top of the cupboards. Now, imagine this. Jeremy is being mugged by an angry environmentalist, for example. There are 3 of you present. What would you do?
I've been mugged by angry environmentalists several times.
Have you?
Yes. Somebody threw a pie in my face when I was dressed up as Henry VIII, guessing at something or other.
A vegetarian pie, presumably.
But it tasted like banoffee, but she'd used a little too much sugar. I pointed that out to her. Anyway, go on, sorry, what's the question?
I would probably... I would punch a horse.
Right?
Yeah. I'd get a Shetland pony and I'd get a hold of it, and not to hurt it, but I'd just punch it a bit, and then they'd be in that dilemma of, do we carry on the Clarkson attack, or do we go to the aid of the... I'd use clever psychology.
No, horses are no good because horses produce methane, which environmentalists believe is even more powerful than global warming agent.
Oh, well, in that case, I'd just turn the horse round, get a lighter, use it as a flamethrower.
Definitely holding its tail away.
Yeah.
The point is you would help, though, would you?
No, I'd video it on my phone.
I think...
I fear that...
Hey, you're right, Jeremy. Yes, I'm fine. Right, I'm getting it all. Don't worry.
Is it that if I were to intervene, I would somehow be liable?
well, there is that, of course. There's always going to be that legal problem. No, it's something called the bystander effect. And it's to do with the number of people witnessing a crime. The larger the number of people who witness a crime, the less likely that any of them will intervene.
It isn't just a crime either. It isn't particularly very funny, but I once was doing some go-kart racing, and the chap rolled his go-kart over in front of us, and all the petrol went all over him. He was going, oh, God, I'm covered in petrol. And then it caught fire.
Oh, Jesus.
And it was extraordinary. There were maybe 40 of us standing there. I was very close, really close, and you just stand going... No, nothing. It's amazing.
But you know why that is? It's because you work in television.
Yeah.
And people in television do the same thing. They just stand there and they go, somebody ought to do something about that. Is there a runner? Is there a runner we can get to do this?
Can I have a coffee? Yeah, 2 sugars. Yeah. This bloke's on fire. He's going to take ages.
No, I suspect if you'd been on your own, at least this is what the bystander theory says, you would have helped.
Oh, yeah.
It's the fact that when there are others, there's a kind of a dissolving of responsibility. And this seems to be a
Typical
problem.
bystanders, are we looking at?
Are
The two on the right are dead and the other two are doing nothing about it.
That's something along those lines. Yeah.
The
And then
worst
you-
I
then you
ever
attack my
saw,
wife.
when it was just me and I did want to help, was on a cross-channel ferry. We've all been there when it's a terrible storm and everybody was being sick. I mean, really badly sick. And I went into the loos, and you know the doors have got their sort of ship's doors, so there's a lip at the bottom.
Yeah.
The entire lavatory was sick. And as the ship rolled, there was a man, a businessman, I'm in a suit, a tie, respectable-looking man, lying, and the sick would come across him, break over him, over his head. And I stood at the door looking at this sight, and he was being sick. And he just looks looks straight at me, just went, "Kill me." And I thought, do you know, if I had a heart, I would. It was the worst.
Instead of that, you just vomited on it.
Oh, Lord, dear Lord.
Well, in France, they actually have a law, a Good Samaritan law, where you are duty-bound to help someone
But
whose
that
life is...
spoils it, doesn't it? If it's the law, you're just obeying the law. No one's kind at all. Then do a kind thing. No, I had to.
But on the other hand, if
I don't want to get sued for not helping.
But if you're lying there, no one's helping you, and you would be grateful for the law, probably, wouldn't you? But the odd thing about that law is it was brought in by the Nazis in Vichy France in the 1940s.
They're a complex bunch.
They were. There was a bad side, certainly.
And you are prosecuted for not helping the Jews. You in court in the morning, you in court in the morning.
Yeah.
That was a Nazi.
Yes, they kept
It's still a law in France that you have to help somebody.
It's called the Good Samaritan law, at least that's its nickname.
Is it also just the thing, when you've got a large group of people, you know, like a committee rather than one person, they essentially can't do anything. It's like if you're in a room sort of with 8 people who are vaguely thinking of going for a curry, it will take, you know, 25 times as long to get to the curry place it would take one person.
Yeah.
And the point comes where if you have up, say, 17 or 18 people, they will starve.
Yes. you hit a tipping point. I think there is an element to that, unquestionably. There is a...
And the curry doesn't need help, you know, so it's not malice.
No.
It's
just simply the same
incompetence.
principle.
Yeah.
The greater the number of people, the less likely you make a decision of any kind. I think it's also the fear of making a fool of yourself, especially if it's strangers, a group of strangers there, and you suggest something, some dominant figure is going to say, no, you're wrong, or you're going to...
Jury service, then.
Yeah. So, anyway, the more witnesses there are, the less likely they are to help. It's called the bystander effect. Now, how could a seahorse help you get round London? That's just silly.
That's actually that looks disgusting.
Yeah,
that doesn't look like a seahorse. That looks like a leg of lamb.
I love the fact that he's got that face, but he's still put a tie on.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? I might look like a freak, but I'm going to be a smart freak.
Do they all point the same way or something like that?
No, it's a sort of play on words on seahorse. What is it that enables us to get around the place?
No,
What's our
we
little
get a
internal
sense of direction.
Your hippo thingy.
Hippo
Thingy. Campus, yes.
Now,
Which
what is
Hippocampus. A seahorse. It's called because it reminded the first anatomists of a seahorse.
What I like about that thing is that when you are really, really drunk, that still works. Then you get home, but you have no idea
How you get home, I know. That is one of the
no
weirdest...
idea. How did you go home? Don't know.
It is odd, that.
I think
know
it's
the
actually,
answer to this now.
It's one of the things that I'm very grateful I'm a little bit sort of tend towards the obsessive-compulsive, because it means that when I'm very drunk, I'm just sort of normal and efficient and don't lose my keys.
See, that's really annoying, because I don't drink, and I lose my keys, and frequently can't find my way home.
I did a thing on this a while back. It's that bit of your brain, what's that called? The limbic system that can tell, even if you're blindfolded, you can tell when a lion's come into the room.
Yes,
because you can sense danger.
Yeah.
And this
And it's
one's...
going...
Yeah,
And everyone's going, there's a bloody lion in the room! There's a lion!
No, that's right. It is the part of our brain that seems to look after our direction. Alan, can I help?
I just wanted to see if you could double up safety-wise.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's very good. Now you're all covered.
Now you can show a gorilla a science experiment.
So, seahorses themselves, have you ever encountered them?
I've seen some in an aquarium, and they
stupid.
had them in a long cylindrical tank,
Yeah.
about 5 foot tall, and they were just going up and down it. Like this.
Oh,
Look at it,
unfair.
look at that.
Apparently
That's
they like
not
that.
swimming.
They're the only fish with a neck.
Well,
Yeah.
The sad thing is that about 25 million of them are killed every year for Chinese medicine, which is unfortunate. That particular one there that we saw, it may have been doing an odd jiggery, but it was a male, and it was doing something quite interesting for a male.
Was it giving birth?
It was giving birth, exactly. So they do have interesting sides for them.
I've always wondered that fact, and I know it is more complicated than I think.
Yeah.
But sort of, if it's the one that's giving birth, why do we call that the female? Well, what's the female one do that's more female than giving birth?
She plants the eggs in the male.
Oh, right.
Again.
Well, why aren't they actually large sperm?
I know it's
But
weird.
why are they defined as eggs? They don't come from the one that gives birth. That's how, I mean, it seems so arbitrary. They've chosen that, no, they're definitely more egg-like. Well, but everything else is pointing to that one's the one that gives birth and stuff. No, it's the egg thing. That's the main thing, is the egg thing.
So the male...
The egg thing and
but the
bad
male
at
then
parking.
fertilises the things that have been planted by this,
Right.
what you want to call a male.
Yeah.
So it really is pretty hard not to say they are male and female. But I
And
grant
anyway-
you, it's an unusual arrangement. The hippocampus is part of the brain that helps you navigate. It means and looks a bit like a seahorse. And now it's time to proceed with extreme caution as we approach the hazardous environment of general ignorance. Please place your fingers carefully on the appropriate location. Which of these birds would you trust to take home with you? I mean, sorry, I should put that better. Which of these birds would you trust to take you home? I see you've been confusing me with your dirty talk.
So the question is a blind pigeon better than a one-eyed robin?
Yeah, or a particular one-eyed robin, because the one is a...
Vehicle reversing.
yes, it's the pigeon.
The pigeon you trust.
Because it follows magnetic lines. It doesn't need eyes for that.
You're right. The pigeon could indeed take you home, but oddly enough, so could the robin on the right, the one whose left eye is covered. The one on the left, whose right eye is covered, couldn't navigate at all.
Because he's pissed.
No, because his right eye is covered.
Oh, right.
That's the weird thing. It's
So
a
is
really...
the left eye is just ornamental, is it?
No, it can see with it. This really is peculiar, but we know now that they use magnetism to navigate in their long journeys. You know this by the fact that you can disorient them, that's pigeons and robins and many others, by placing magnets near them, and they suddenly no longer know where to go. But they also need to see. That's to say, they're not just sensing it. They obviously see some magnetic flux in the way that we see light, colour, whatever. But the weird things they discovered, and gosh knows why they tried it, but that a robin, it's only its right eye that sees the magnetism. With its left eye covered, it can find its way using magnetism, but with its right eye covered, it can't.
So like an Apache helicopter pilot, they have to have the binocular
Yes.
rivalry, they call it.
Yes.
So you're saying that it would be physically impossible for a pigeon, a homing pigeon, to deliver a fridge magnet?
Yes. It's a shocker.
No wonder my business failed. Ridiculous.
You're right. It is a shocker.
What do they think? If the robin's right eye can see magnetism,
Yeah.
and
They
also
think it's controlled in the
normal
left
things.
brain, therefore.
So what's the left eye's special power?
Well, just
Maybe
seeing.
it can-
It's just an ordinary seeing eye.
Or
We
maybe it
assume.
can see smells.
Maybe it can.
Like the sort of Bisto brown thing.
Yes.
You know, it can see
Yes.
deliciousness.
There's clearly more work to be done. Anyway, it seems that robins somehow detect magnetic fields with their right eye, but the pigeons can also do it totally blindfold. What causes a hernia, gentlemen?
What causes it? Or what is
Yeah, what causes it?
Isn't it the one stomach lining muscle breaking through another stomach lining muscle? Or is that not?
Yeah.
Is that just what it is rather than what?
It's sort of what it is,
Are
yes.
you
Right.
trying to make us say something like lifting up a wardrobe?
Yes, but you
Something
would
like
never say
no,
that,
I would
would
never
you?
say anything
No.
foolish like that. I'd be caught
You're
up by
quite
one of
right.
the traps now.
Brilliant. You avoided the trap wonderfully, yes. The fact is, a lot of people seem to think that it's caused by lifting a great weight.
Give yourself a hernia.
Yeah, exactly. But lifting a great weight will announce it to you and will certainly make it feel worse, but that's not what causes it. It's a weakness, it's a congenital weakness, or it can also be things like smoking, obviously, wear down the collagen, but it's where one part of a body pops into another part, like that pink there. It's rather unpleasant. There you are. That's literally just blown out into the wrong part. It's rather
So
nasty.
essentially, bubble gum is herniated food.
Yes, if you like, if you wanted to put it that way.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to move on now. Hernias are caused by a weakening in the abdominal wall. Lifting something heavy might make you notice it, but it doesn't cause the weakness. Why shouldn't you drink on antibiotics?
No.
Yes.
Dive!
Because that's what doctors say. All the time. Yeah, and operate machinery as well. Oh, and just heavy machinery. Any sort of machinery, that's fine. Sewing machine, do that.
Yeah.
Operate a sewing machine off your tits, no, mate.
But not the space shuttle.
You sort of... You can, really, can't you? Because they sort of say, they say, oh, you'd better not drink, but they just don't want you to have too much fun. It's like you can use a mobile phone at a petrol station.
When antibiotics arrived, it was mostly in the 1940s, and one of the first things that antibiotics was brilliant at was syphilis. And so they gave men with syphilis antibiotics, and the trouble was they'd still be infectious for the first week of taking the antibiotics. And so they would say to them, don't get drunk, don't drink, because basically keep your, keep your trousers on.
Right. It's tradition.
Yes.
I'm told when they give me antibiotics for my endless array of diseases, and they say don't drink, they're just doing that for traditional...
There are some antibiotics. There's one, I think, is it called Flagyl, I think, which is like Antabuse, which will make you vomit. Is really horrific. It doesn't stop the antibiotic working, it just makes you feel
So glad you're
awful.
saying that, because I hate being in the pub and saying, no, I can't, I'm on antibiotics, I'm not.
No,
I think
I'll
that's
go,
great.
woo.
It's great that you say it's tradition, actually.
Yeah.
You're saying it's tradition. That's made me so much less likely to drink on antibiotics now.
Really?
Because if
are a traditional
if it's
fellow.
traditional, I'll go, well, that's fine.
Yes.
I respect tradition. I like these traditions. Yeah. But we stop observing them, they'll disappear.
Yeah, but the trouble is, by that logic, you'll be dressed as a Morris dancer. That's not a good thing.
We do all sorts of, Christmas lunch, I wear a stupid paper hat that makes my scalp itch.
Yes,
and
that's true.
And I wouldn't want to stop doing that just for a little reduction in scalp discomfort.
Well spoken. Very true. So, with, a few specific exceptions, please ask your doctor, there is no general pharmacological reason not to mix antibiotics and alcohol. Which brings us to the scores. Oh, and how interesting they are. Safe as houses tonight, with a very healthy lead of +6 points, is our winner, David Mitchell. Followed at a reasonably safe distance with +2 by Ross Noble. In third place with -4 is Jeremy Clarkson. But I think I'm safe in saying that tonight's loser with -6 is Alan Davies. Well, so it's thanks from David, Jeremy, Ross, Alan and me, and I leave you with this thought from Mark Twain. Be careful about reading health books, he said. You may die of a misprint. Take care and good night.
We're back at the Tennis World Tour Finals here on BBC HD tomorrow at 5:15. And still to come tonight, it's Film 2010 next.